Okay, so let's say you're like, I want to really boost my English vocabulary.
Yeah.
I'm talking big goals here. Maybe even that like legendary 20,000 word
Oh, wow.
milestone.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
realistically, that can feel a little bit like
Right.
climbing Mount Everest, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. And honestly, this whole like 20,000 words idea,
Yeah.
it's a lot more complex than it sounds, I think.
Well, and that is where this deep dive comes in.
Right.
Because we are not just talking about the practical strategies for you to expand your vocabulary like day to day,
Yeah.
but we're also going to kind of tackle this mind-boggling question of just how many English words are there really?
Yes.
And to help us like
Totally.
unpack this linguistic puzzle, I've got our expert here.
Absolutely.
One thing that I think is really fascinating as we were looking at all this material is that even defining like what is a word can get
Totally.
kind of tricky.
Think of English as like a living, breathing thing, right?
Yeah.
Constantly evolving.
Yeah.
New words are popping up faster than you can say, you know, metaverse. So like, where do we even begin to
Where do you even start?
start counting? Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with some practical stuff.
Okay.
You know, a lot of the sources we were looking at, they all kind of hit on this idea of consistency.
Of course.
Yeah. Which isn't surprising.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, is there any science to that?
There actually is.
Oh, cool.
There's studies showing that language learners who like prioritize those shorter, more consistent practice sessions, they really outperform the people who just try to cram.
Got it.
Yeah.
So it's like you're building that neural pathway bit by bit.
It is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like when I was trying to learn Italian, and I thought, oh, you know what I should do? I should just like binge watch Fellini films.
Right.
For a week, I'll be fluent.
Right. And that's it.
Turns out, even just like 15 minutes a day, but every single day, would have been way more effective.
Exactly. And, you know, our sources suggest some really clever ways to kind of sneak in vocabulary practice into your daily routine, you know, even on your commute or even, you know, while you're waiting for that triple shot espresso to brew, anything like that.
Well, speaking of like sneaky tactics, one that caught my eye was reading extensively. Now, I'm a bookworm, but let's be honest.
Okay.
Sometimes it's more like celebrity gossip magazine worm.
Okay.
Does that even count?
Hey, whatever gets those eyeballs moving, right?
Right.
The point is exposure to a diverse range of vocabulary in context, and you would be amazed how much your brain picks up.
Okay.
Absolutely.
True. But even with all the reading,
I
still manage to misinterpret words sometimes. In fact, I know our sources had this hilarious anecdote.
Oh, tell me.
About someone confusing infamous with famous.
Oh, my gosh.
And let's just say things got a little awkward.
Oh, yeah. Context is definitely key.
Oh, yeah.
I mixed up effect and effect in presentation. And I was like, oh, well,
whoops.
No grammar awards for me.
Well, that makes me feel a lot better.
Okay, good.
About my vocabulary mishaps.
Yeah.
But, you know, that actually brings up another point.
Yeah.
Which is kind of this debate of like tech tools versus old school methods.
For sure.
I am a bit of a notebook fanatic. Like scribbling down new words.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's going out of style.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's a class
Art for a reason. Yeah. Well, I'm more on the digital side. Now I've become a convert to like the flashcards and vocabulary apps, especially the ones using spaced repetition.
Oh, wait, back up a sec.
Yeah.
Spaced repetition.
Spaced repetition, yeah.
What is that? Break that down for me. That sounds a little bit.
It's like you're getting a little AI tutor in your pocket.
Okay.
It's pretty genius.
Okay.
So the app will track the words that you're struggling with, and it will cleverly reschedule them for review.
Oh, okay.
At increasing intervals. So it's really about, you know, optimizing those neural pathways.
Oh, so instead of reviewing every word on a list,
exactly,
it's focusing on like
their weak spots. Yeah.
Your weak spots.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
And I think our sources mentioned a couple of apps.
Anki, Memorize, Quizlet. They all use this technique, and they have a ton of user-generated content, too, which I think is a huge plus.
Cool. So a lot of resources out there.
Yes.
But I think ultimately the best tool is going to be the one that keeps you engaged.
Of course.
Right.
It has to be something you enjoy using.
Right. Got to be something you enjoy using.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about kind of the practical tips.
Right.
But I'm dying to get into this, like, how many words are there really?
Oh, mystery.
All right, so this is where it gets kind of mind-blowing.
Okay.
All right, so
I'm ready.
counting words in a language as dynamic as English is like trying to count butterflies
Whoa.
in a rainforest.
Okay, that's a vivid image.
Constantly shifting.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So, first of all, dictionaries like the OED, they boast, hundreds of thousands entries.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
That's more words than...
It's a lot.
I can see stars in the night sky.
Yeah.
Honestly, I doubt anyone actually uses even a fraction of those words in their daily life.
You're absolutely right, and that's why our sources emphasize the importance of focusing on a core vocabulary.
Okay.
Mastering the words that you'll actually encounter.
Right.
Well, on a regular basis, right? Not getting lost in this sea of obscure terminology.
So strategy over sheer quantity.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm still hooked on this whole how many words question.
Okay, yeah.
Like, how do we even, begin to define what counts as a word?
Right, that's the million-dollar question.
Right.
So, you think about, verb tenses.
Right.
Do those count separately?
Yeah.
There's run, running, and ran, one word or three.
Right.
What about compound words?
Right.
Like butterfly, smartphone. It gets tricky fast.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's starting to feel less like counting apples and more like counting, I don't know.
Grains of sand.
Grains of sand on the beach.
On a beach.
And a constantly shifting beach.
Constantly shifting.
Right.
Yeah, and then you have all these specialized terms from different fields. Medicine, law, technology. Should those be a part of it? Okay, I'm officially overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So what's the verdict?
Well,
how many words are there in the English language?
The truth is, there's no single definitive answer.
Oh, no.
You'll see estimates ranging from, a few 100,000 to over 1 million.
Wow.
Depending on how you define a word.
Okay.
But for most people, the takeaway is focusing on that core vocabulary of commonly used words.
Okay.
That's the most practical approach.
So quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Master those essentials, then expand from there.
Exactly. It's about building that solid foundation and then venturing out to explore, the nuances, the richness of the language.
Which I think kind of brings us back to this idea of vocabulary expansion as a lifelong journey. Exactly. It's not a destination.
It's a process.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, even native speakers are constantly learning new words and refining their understanding of language.
Yeah, it's a fascinating process.
It really is. It's what makes language so captivating.
It really is a living entity. It's constantly evolving, adapting, and reflecting the world around us.
So for all of you word nerds out there, don't get too fixated on hitting a specific number.
No, don't worry about it.
Focus on cultivating that love for language.
Totally.
Embracing the journey.
Yeah.
And most importantly, having fun.
And have fun, of course.
Along the way.
Yes.
All right, we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
After a quick word from our sponsors.
Okay.
Okay, so we are back.
Yes.
And ready to dive even deeper
into
this vocabulary adventure.
Let's do it.
Before the break, we were talking about how the sheer number of words in the English language can be
pretty mind-boggling.
But the real magic isn't just in memorizing a dictionary.
No, not at all. So. It's about, understanding how to use those words effectively and expressively. You know, it's like having this toolbox full of these amazing tools, but you don't actually know how to use any of them.
So true. And our sources highlight some really cool strategies for not just learning new words, but actually integrating them into your everyday language.
Yes.
And one that really stood out to me was this idea of learning words in context.
Oh, absolutely.
Seems so much more effective than just
it's way more effective.
Rote memorization.
Absolutely, because, when you encounter a new word in a book or an article or even a conversation, you're not just getting the definition, you're seeing how it functions in the real world, you know? It's like learning to cook by watching a master chef as opposed to just reading a recipe book.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember when I first encountered the word ubiquitous in a novel. I had no clue what it meant, but just the way that the author used it to describe this creepy, ever-present fog, it just made the word stick with me.
That's the power of context. It just brings those words to life and makes them memorable.
And that's where those trusty companions, the dictionary and thesaurus.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Go hand.
For sure.
I'll be honest, I have a slight obsession with dictionaries. There's something so satisfying about looking up a word.
Yeah.
Discovering its etymology. It's like...
I know, it's like this linguistic treasure hunt.
Its origins and how it's connected to other words.
It really is.
And then thesaurus, I mean...
A good thesaurus can be a game changer.
Game changer.
It can help you find just the right synonym or antonym to really,
add the nuance.
Add nuance and precision.
Yeah, to your writing or speaking.
To your writing and speaking.
It's like having a whole palette of shades and hues for your language.
For sure.
Now, our sources also mentioned flashcards and vocabulary apps.
Yes, definitely.
As valuable tools. And I know we touched on spaced repetition.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit.
A little bit before the break. But are there any other features
I think
that make these apps so effective?
A lot of them use gamification, right?
Okay.
To make learning more engaging. So think about quizzes, challenges, even virtual rewards.
Oh, okay.
So it's really tapping into our natural love of competition and fun.
Right.
So it makes those study sessions feel less like work and more like, oh, I'm playing a game.
Sneaking in a vocabulary workout while you're playing a game on your phone.
Exactly.
And of course, let's not forget.
Oh, of course not.
About good old-fashioned note-taking.
Ah, yes. The classic vocabulary notebook.
I mean, there's something so...
That's a timeless tool.
Satisfying about physically writing down the word.
It is.
The definition, maybe even sketching little visual aids to help me remember.
Yeah.
It's like those words become more tangible.
They do. They become more real.
Right.
Yeah.
More real.
I agree.
And you can get so...
And you can get creative with it, too. You can add mind maps. You can create, your own example sentences.
Right.
You can even write little poems or stories using your new vocabulary words.
I love that.
Yeah.
Making it personal.
Make it personal.
And playful.
I
think that definitely helps it stick.
It does. It does.
Now, even beyond, the traditional methods, there are so many other...
there are so many.
Fun and engaging... ways to expand your vocabulary.
Absolutely. One of my favorites is watching movies and TV shows in English with the subtitles on because not only are you getting exposed to all of this vocabulary in this natural context, but you're also picking up on different accents, colloquialisms, the rhythm of spoken language.
Oh, that reminds me.
Yeah.
When I was trying to improve my French, I would watch French films with the English subtitles.
Yes.
And then switch to the French subtitles.
Right.
And then eventually no subtitles.
Exactly. That's a fantastic approach.
Right.
Yeah. And let's not forget word games.
Oh, yes.
They're another great way to really flex those vocabulary muscles. So
crossword puzzles, Scrabble.
Crosswords, Scrabble, Boggle.
Boggle, yeah.
All of that.
They're so
fun, and they really challenge you.
Addictive.
To think creatively about words.
Yes.
And their meanings and how they fit together.
I've lost track of how many hours I spent on a crossword puzzle, but it's all
for, a good cause.
In the name of vocabulary expansion.
Exactly. And it's not just about passive learning either.
Right.
Engaging in, conversations, debates, even just casual chats with friends. It can be a fantastic way to really practice using those words.
Yeah. That's so true.
In real-world settings.
I'll even, casually drop a new word.
I'd love that.
Into conversation, just to see if I can...
See if you can pull it off.
Yeah, pull it off.
I love that. Embrace that playful spirit. Don't be afraid to experiment with language.
Speaking of experimentation...
Yes.
We were talking earlier about how English is constantly...
It's a river.
Evolving.
It's like a river.
Yes, beautiful analogy.
Always is.
It's always flowing, changing its course, picking up.
Right, and it makes it nearly impossible to pin down.
It really does.
Exactly how many words exist in the English language.
It's impossible.
At any given time.
Right. Because not only are new words being created all the time, old words are taking on new meanings.
It's like this linguistic...
It's this constant dance.
It's dance.
With words swirling in and out of fashion.
Think about how, the word cool has evolved over the decades.
Totally.
Or how, like, viral has taken on this whole new
oh my gosh.
thing in the age of
social media?
Social media, completely different.
It's amazing how language adapts.
It is.
To reflect.
It reflects the changing world around us.
Right, and that brings us back to this question of what even constitutes a word. I'm curious. What are some of the...
So, I mean, one of the key factors is whether a word has a widely recognized meaning.
Okay.
And is used by a significant number of people.
Okay.
So it's not enough for a word to just exist in a dictionary. It needs to be actively used in communication.
So it's not just about arbitrary combinations of letters.
It's not just about the letters.
But about how those combinations...
Yes, it's how they function in the real world.
Right.
How they convey meaning.
Right.
And connect people.
Which is, it's fascinating.
It is fascinating to think about.
It really highlights how language is not just this tool for communication, but also a reflection of culture, history, and human ingenuity.
And as language learners, we have this privilege.
We do.
Of not just expanding our vocabulary, but also, I think,
of expanding our understanding.
Of
the world and the people who inhabit it.
It's a pretty amazing journey.
It is. It is.
When you think about it.
And the beauty of it is that it's a never-ending journey.
Right.
You know, there's always something new to discover, some new nuance to explore, some new word to add to your linguistic toolbox.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
So for all you fellow word enthusiasts out there, keep that dictionary.
Keep it close.
Close.
Yeah.
Embrace those moments.
Embrace those moments of linguistic discovery.
Discovery.
And remember that the adventure is just beginning.
It really is.
Now, we've been talking a lot about the practical and philosophical aspects of vocabulary expansion.
Yes.
I want a little more personal.
Okay, all right.
Like, what are some of your personal favorite words?
My favorite words.
Like, what are some of your personal favorite words?
Ooh, that's a fun one.
The ones that just, like, roll off the tongue or spark a little joy in your brain.
I'm a sucker for words with, like, interesting etymologies, like serendipity.
Oh, yeah.
The fortunate discovery of something good while you're looking for something else.
Oh.
It's like a little linguistic reminder that sometimes the best things in life are unexpected.
I love that. It's like the universe is giving you a little wink.
I know, right?
For me, I think it's effervescent.
Ooh.
It just sounds so bubbly.
It does.
And
it does.
And it just perfectly captures that feeling of, like, excitement and joy.
It's like the word itself is sparkling.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I find fascinating, though?
Right.
It's those words that we, like, almost have in English, but not quite.
Okay.
You know, those concepts that we can, like, picture in our minds, but we don't have the perfect word.
Right, like when you're
describe it.
Trying to explain a feeling or an idea.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
there's got to be a word for this.
There's got to be a word for this.
I know.
And it makes you realize that even with, like, all the richness and complexity of the English language, there are still these gaps where new words could emerge.
Exactly. Which brings us to my favorite part.
Yes.
Every deep dive.
The thought-provoking question to leave our listeners pondering.
All right, hit me with it.
Okay, so
what linguistic puzzle
we've explored
are we tackling today?
The vastness of the English language.
We have.
We've talked about the challenges of, like, defining a word, all the strategies for expanding our vocabulary.
Absolutely.
But now I want to flip the script.
Okay. All right.
Imagine you have the power to invent one new English word.
Ooh.
What would it be?
One word.
What would it mean?
Oh, that's a good one.
Right.
It makes you think about, like, all those nuances of language and the limits of our current vocabulary.
Yeah.
So what concept, what emotion would your word embody? Yeah. Would it fill, like, a void in our emotional vocabulary? Or would it describe, you know, a technological advancement that we haven't even thought of yet?
The possibilities
are endless.
Endless. It's like a linguistic blank canvas.
It is.
Just waiting for your
I love that.
Creative stroke. Maybe your word would express that bittersweet feeling of, like, nostalgia and longing.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. Or maybe it would capture that unique bond between, like, humans and their pets.
Oh.
Or maybe it would describe like a new shade of blue.
Okay.
That evokes both tranquility.
I like it.
And exhilaration.
Yes. The fun is in the exploration.
Right.
Stretching the boundaries of language and imagining what could be.
So, dear listeners.
Yes.
I challenge you.
I love it.
To take this thought experiment.
Yes.
And run with it.
Run with it, listeners.
Brainstorm with friends. Doodle in your notebook.
Doodle.
Let those creative juices flow.
Yes.
And when you've crafted your brilliance.
When you've got it.
New word.
Yes.
Share it with us.
Share it.
On social media.
Yes.
Using the hashtag #MyInventedWord.
Hashtag #MyInventedWord.
We can't wait to see.
We can't wait.
What linguistic gems.
What you come up with.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe your invented word will, catch on.
That would be amazing.
And become part of the ever-evolving tapestry.
Yes.
Of the English language.
I love that.
Wouldn't that be amazing? To leave your own unique mark on the lexicon?
That's beautiful.
To contribute to this, rich and ever-growing symphony?
It's a symphony of words.
Of words that connects us all.
It is. It really is.
Well, on that note.
All right.
We're going to wrap up this deep dive.
Yes.
Into the fascinating world.
Okay.
Of English vocabulary.
It's been a journey.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Happy word nerding, everyone.
Bye, everyone.